Okay, we only have this one unit in level 3 dealing with circles, and it's really about the standard form of the equation of a circle. Basically, we need to be able to do two things. One, if I have the equation, can I graph it? And two, if I have a graph of a circle, can I write the equation? Now, the equation itself looks pretty complicated. It's not, because the x and the y will always be there. That's just part of the equation. Same thing with the parentheses will always be there, and these exponents will always be here. The h and the k and the r are the only three things that change. We are not actually going to square this out, so we don't have to do any of that. All we're going to do is take the information from the h and the k and the r. Okay? So the center of my circle is whatever h and k are. So my center is a point at hk, and that's the center. And then r stands for the radius. So those are really the only two things that we're looking for, is can I identify a center and can I identify the radius. You just got to be very careful on the signs. Okay, so if it's a minus, it's going to be a positive. If it's a positive, it's going to be a negative. I know we'll give some examples down here what that looks like. This last number in the equation is whatever the radius squared is. Again, when we get to the examples, they'll make more sense. As you get into the next level of Algebra 2, they take equations like this and they manipulate them, like not only for circles, but they do them for what we call parabolas and ellipses and all these different things that you'll learn in Algebra 2. So this is just an introduction to this formula and kind of how it's manipulated. Again, we're not going to FOIL, we're not going to multiply these out. We're just going to use the center and the radius. So here we go. So it says graph each circle and identify its center and radius. So we're going to identify first. Okay, let me blow this up just a little bit here. So from this equation right here, we can identify what is the center and what is the radius. So the formula itself is a minus. So if the given equation is opposite of that, in other words a plus, then I know my center is going to be opposite that. I know that's kind of difficult, but it'll make sense here. So plus 4, the center's at negative 4. This is what it's supposed to look like, so that is 2. Okay, so my center of my circle is at the point negative 4, 2. The radius is going to be whatever the square root is. So the radius, which is this last number here, right, in the formula, is equal to 25. Square root both sides, so the radius of my circle is 5. Okay, really important that you remember that this number at the end represents r squared. Okay, we only want r. Okay, so now if I'm going to graph this, I'm going to identify the center. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There's my center. And then obviously it's difficult sometimes to graph circles. So we know the radius, which is the center going out, is 5. So in all 4 directions, I'm going to count 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going through there. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going through there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through there. It's going through there. Okay, so you can see kind of the 4 locations. Then you just kind of sketch this out so that it's, and there you go, done. That's all you had to do. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem. So we have x minus 7 squared. This is the way it's supposed to look like. So my center is going to be at 7. There's nothing here with the y, so that would be like 0. So my center is at 7, 0. My radius squared is 4. So the radius squared is 4. So that means the radius is 2. Okay, Okay, so radius is 2. So I'm going to find the 0.70. And I'm going to count out 2 all 4 directions. Remember, I can count out vertical and horizontal lines that go along the graph lines. All right, then we draw kind of our circle, and we're done. Okay, next one. Remember, if it's what it's supposed to be, we're just going to take that number. If it's a +1, we're going to go -1. There's my center. This represents r squared. So r then is 7. Okay, so then you would go through the same little bit where you take 1, 2, 3, 1. There's my center. You count out 7, count down 7, count over 7, count up 7, and then you would connect your circle. So I think 7 comes out to here. So you can see really graphing in a circle is really not that hard. You, again, just need those 2 little pieces. Oh, that's not going to be a good circle. Of the center and the radius, and then we just kind of sketch out what that circle is going to be. All right, last one. If it's not what it's supposed to be, it's going to be the opposite. So -6, -5. The radius is going to be 4. I'm just going to stop there. I think you guys understand. If you don't understand and want to do that and then check with me, please feel free to do so. Okay, so we're going to stop there, and then I'll come back with part 2.